Hi, I'm doing this video to show off the upcoming African Civil War time-lapse, or I have already recorded it, but it's still gonna be edited and then I have to upload it. So in the meantime I'm making this video explaining what I thought led up to the current situation. We are having three countries, nations, or rather, well, groups of nations, countries working together as one faction or something. Anyway, we got three of them. First, the Federation of the Green Crescent, which is a Muslim-dominated federation, which isn't democratic at all. The sort of religious conservative dictatorship ruled from Cairo. Yeah, whatever it's called. And then we got the East African Alliance, which is an alliance, a democratic one, ruled by market liberals who are supported by China and are fighting for their independence and the economic progress of East Africa. It's a coalition of East African states, a democratic one, and their capital is in Nairobi. And finally, we have the South African Confederation, which I will start describing. Their capital, as a compromise, is in Cape Town. All of their flags are currently South African flags. So, but it has no meaning, so you can ignore that. Nothing specifically meant with it. So, what? How did this come to be? Well, if we, well, it says 1936, but imagine that this is sometime in the future, and well, the original four members of the South African Coalition, as it was originally called, also the abbreviation is SAC, was South Africa, Zimbabwe, Botswana and Namibia. And what happened is that Mugabe, the ruler of Zimbabwe, died, and it caused political unrest in Zimbabwe, which led to the African Union being deployed to the country to secure peaceful elections, which the opposition won, which led to the formation of the South African coalition between these four. Later, Angola joined, and Congo finally completely broke up, and yeah. So what happened was that in the meanwhile, the African Union basically collapsed and stopped working together. So the SAC, with their newly Angolan member, basically invaded Congo, split it up into three countries, and the SAC became its new army, and they were integrated in the South African Confederation, which it was renamed. And then the other Congo, and this one called? It's called Gabon, Guinea, Equatorial Guinea, and the southern part of Cameroon joined as well. In the meantime, the EAA, the East African Alliance, well, they just grouped together because the other two was forming for their own sake, or else they would just be eaten up by the other two. And but before we go to this one, check this out. This is what happened with their. This is what they're gonna do with their oil money. Just wait for it. Anyway, so yeah, religious conservatives in North African Muslim-dominated countries overthrew their rulers, governments, democratic or dictatorship, whatever they were before, and they joined together in an alliance which reformed into a federation of the Green Crescent, representing Islam or whatever, and with their capital in Cairo, which holds the Islamic Congress, which rules with an iron fist, not caring about whatever anyone says, does what it wants, and as a result of that, they invaded Sudan, which was a Muslim country but wanted to be independent, but said fuck that and just took them over anyway. Also Eritrea. And well, the rest were threatened to either join or be invaded, and some joined by force, or some felt they needed to join or their countries would be ruined, and others resisted and got invaded. The same results, they all became part of the Green Crescent. And down here in the south we got Christian majority African countries. The same thing there, they all got invaded. No, none of them joined voluntarily, but they couldn't resist the great invasion from the north. And well, at the same time as Nigeria fell to the Green Crescent, Cameroon joined the SAC, the South African Confederation, which at this time has reached up all the way to North and Central Africa. And these were the finalized borders. For specific details about industry resources, we have these. So, if you see all the green provinces in Africa right now is provinces with either resources or industry. You can also check the victory points, which are the same. If we do the victory points first, we have 9 provinces in each country which have victory points. The capital and 2 other major cities have 5 points, and the rest, the 6 remaining, have 1 point each. And the same major cities and the capital have all the resources in the country. Yeah, and but the other 6 remaining have no resources. They have half of the industry and some victory points. All of the resources split into the major cities, but the industry has been split up into among the smaller cities and provinces, to enable the other countries to slowly occupy the industry and take it over of the other countries. And that's basically it. We can of course check the governments of each of them. for once I actually did something related to it. So here are the government of the Green Crescent. I haven't actually added any new ministers, just changed around here. I will also release this as a playable mod. And then we got the EAA, which look like this, which have a bunch of Americans and MacArthur as the head of their army. I don't think there was a East African country as well, there was Ethiopia, but well, I forgot about that. Well, imagine it's a bunch of Americans running the EAA. And then finally we got South Africa, which got South African ministers in their government. And they're also social democrats. And that's basically it. And Norway. And Cuba. And El Salvador. El Salvador really doesn't want to stop existing. They won't go away in the map editor. Well, they can watch the fun, I guess. Everyone else is basically gone. Yeah. So I will edit the time lapse, and I will upload it after this video. So yeah, and after that it's the Russian Civil War, which should be the most interesting one yet in this rush of time lapses. That sounds like something they will write in the history books. The rush of time lapses. Maybe. Well then, goodbye.